I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what we need to be careful with and what are some things that we need to look out for, things that might, when you first see it, seem really great. But let me tell you, have you guys heard that phrase that if it's too good to be true, it probably is? You heard that before? Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about protecting yourself. And what are things that are things we should never share with people? Things that if people ask us for it, we have to be really careful. What are some signs, some things to kind of look out for when you meet new people? People who are not in your circle of support, who you trust, who you've known since you were in elementary school or middle school, or your families, or people who you know are looking out for you or want to help you and want what's best for you. Okay? So we're going to talk about 3 new terms. Have any of you guys heard? I know you've heard about one of them. Have you guys heard about abuse? Yeah? Yeah. You've heard that term before? And if you guys are following along, we're on page 16. And this, we have quite a few pages in here on this, and I really would like for you guys, after we leave, because we don't have we're not going to go 100% and tell you everything that's on all of these pages, but there's some activities and there's some things that I want you guys to go and discuss with the supports that you have, whether it be your job coaches or your teachers or your family, because these are things, and let me tell you, every mistake is an opportunity to learn from, but every single one of us needs to look out for this. Even after the age of 18, even as an adult, when we go and meet new people and when people ask us for things, we have to constantly kind of keep these things in the back of our mind, right? So let's talk a little bit about abuse, which is treating a person with cruelty or violence, right? But there's more than just physical abuse. We know what physical abuse is, right? Hitting, punching, kicking, that kind of stuff. There's emotional abuse, right? You heard the manipulation thing, right? When people are trying to get you to do something that's not in the best interest for you, they're trying to get you to do it because it's in the best interest for them, right? There's sexual abuse. No means no. We've heard that before, right? We don't want to put anyone in a situation they don't want to be in when it comes to their personal space and what they want. We don't want anyone to do that to us. And these are going to be really important things that if you know of this happening to somebody else, or if someone tries to do any of these things to you, it's going to be really important that you know who you go to, who do you talk to. We talked a little bit about it, but we're going to give you a couple more things to put into your circle of support so that if you see these things, you'll know who to get to talk to, okay? Neglect. Have you guys heard that word, neglect? We hear people talking about it a lot with animals too. Okay? Neglect is when you don't provide what someone needs. And that could be an animal, right? There's ways to neglect an animal, right? What are things that an animal needs to live? What your dog needs to live? Food and water, right? If we don't give our dog food and water, it's harmful.
Or a doghouse.
A doghouse, a safe place. There are things that we all need. Let's use an example. Let's say that I have someone who helps me get to my job. That's their job, is to help me get to my job. They help me with transportation, and they come in and help me at work, okay? If they're not doing what they're supposed to, that's neglect. It is their responsibility to help me so that I can work. But it's also our personal responsibilities that if we see somebody or we know that someone's not doing what they're supposed to do, that we know where to go, right? Because the further along this gets, the more harm it does, right? If we don't feed our dog for one day, it's a problem. What happens if we keep going days and days and days? It gets worse and worse and worse, right? But you can neglect yourself too. What if I just decided to wake up and I was like, you know what, I'm done with this whole shower thing. Takes me so long to curl my hair. I'm just gonna not take a shower ever again. Not good, right?
No.
Showers are not just for other people. They're also for our health, right? It's really important for hygiene to stay clean or to brush our teeth and that kind of thing, right? So you can neglect yourself. Someone can neglect you. You can see other people neglect somebody else. It's our responsibility, especially when we're adults, to look out for ourselves and to also help those around us. Okay? Exploitation, that's a term you guys might not have heard before. Have you guys heard that term? Some yes, some no. Okay, it's specifically when someone takes your property, whether it's your money, your phone, or tries to get you to give it to them.
Basically using you for whatever they need or want.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Perfectly said. Using you for what it is that they need or want. But it's not good for you, right? It's different from if my dad says, I'm going to the store and I jump in the car, right? He happens to be going to the store anyway. He's someone in my circle of support that I can trust, and we're both benefiting from that, right? That's different. But we see a lot of people try and exploit other people for money. And let me tell you, my day job is over at the Department of Elder Affairs, and we are the state agency that helps people who are elderly. And the elderly have become a huge target because of the internet, okay? And who here plays, anyone here play like PS4, Xbox Live games?
Yes.
PS3, Xbox Live, those kind of things? Yeah?
I play it with my GameCube sometimes, and then sometimes on the Wii.
All right, sometimes on the Wii. Any of you guys play PC games? I was a big World of Warcraft player. I know you could probably...
I like Minecraft.
You like Minecraft? And those games, yeah.
Kind of like PS4 or something like that.
Exactly. And you guys ever play those games live? So you're talking to people you don't know? Yeah. And some of those people, they got some mouths on them, right? What? Yep.
I sometimes play Zoo Tycoon.
Okay. Yeah. There's lots of different games, and a lot of these games, especially if they're online, and let me tell you, I'm the biggest, I love playing online games. I have tons of different online games that I play, Xbox, on PC, on all these different things. We meet a bunch of people, we don't know if we can trust them, right? We certainly are meeting people through a device, right? We're not meeting them face to face. Our friends might not know them.
They can say that they're anybody.
They can say that they're anybody. Yeah. And we want to be careful about those people that we meet online. There's other ways that people meet other people online. What are ways that people meet people online? Facebook, Snapchat. Mm-hmm. Dating apps. Ooh, yeah, that's a big one. Twitter. Mm-hmm. Instagram. Right? We don't know if those people are who they say they are. And sometimes it's a really cool, modern, interesting way to meet people. So we're not saying that everyone that you meet online is bad. But we are saying that there are certain things, and we're going to talk to you about some of the signs of things that if somebody asks you for these, ding. We wanted to set off a light that says, you know what, I remember someone told me that somebody asked me for these things and I need to be really extra careful. Okay? And I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and you guys tell me if there's anything that I missed. If you guys have a bank account number and someone asks you for your bank account number, and let me give you a key, because I see this a lot with people who are elderly. We see people who will call up, who are trying to steal money from other people, call up on a cell phone, and they'll target people who are a certain age, and it's people who are really young, and it's people who are often elderly. And they'll ask you, they'll say, listen, you just want $100, all you have to do is give me your bank account number. Your bank should not ask you for your bank account number over the phone. Okay? So if someone asks you for your bank account number, especially online, we got to be careful, right? They have all those like fillable forms that you can go in and put all those information in. Credit card and debit cards. Anyone here have a credit card? No? You got one? You got one? They're how my generation managed to get ourselves in tons and tons of trouble. Because all of a sudden, this beautiful card comes in the mail, and someone says, I have credit, and I have things that I can go buy. I know I don't have money in the bank, but that credit card says that I do. That credit card says I can go buy stuff, and then they say, okay, now I want you to pay me back. And I want you to pay me back extra since you borrowed it from me. Okay? But if anyone asks you for a credit or debit card or your bank account information, we want to be really, really careful. Who's asking? Why? And if you are ever concerned, if anything ever sets off a little, maybe I shouldn't do this, say no. No, thank you. You know what? I understand. I'm not going to tell you that right now. I want to talk to other people. And then go talk to somebody else about it, someone in your circle of support that you trust. Especially, we see people who maybe don't have your best interest in mind will apply a lot of pressure on you. Oh, well, you got to do it today. You got to tell me right now. Because if you don't tell me right now, I can't give you this deal. Right? This is particularly important if we enter into contracts with things. Your cell phone is likely a contract. There are some phones that you can get without a contract, but a lot of people aren't in a contract with their cell phones. And let me tell you something. I learned this all too late in life, but I don't sign anything without having somebody else look at it. And he's not here right now, but one of my best friends and coworkers is an attorney. And I take it to him, and I don't sign anything until I let somebody else look at it, because maybe I missed something, maybe I don't understand. Ask questions. But you do not need to feel pressured to make that decision right then. And if someone's pressuring you, that might be a red flag. Okay? What about your social security numbers, Medicaid numbers, things like that? Those are really, really important to keep safe. Have you guys heard of identity theft? You've heard that term, you've seen those commercials. We'll help you against identity theft. I don't know if you guys would remember this commercial. There's a commercial that they were doing like Safe Lock or Lifelink or something, one of those commercials, and this guy said, we will protect you so well, you can sign up for this thing, and he drove around New York City with his social security number on a side of a truck. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Turns out they told people later that he got his identity stolen like 25 times from that commercial. Evidently, they must have protected him okay, but they got his identity stolen a bunch of times. These are things that if people ask us for them, and we really, really want to be careful that we make sure that you understand why. And if it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't sound right, if it sounds too good to be true, we call it just being cautious, just erring on the side of caution, saying, you know what, no thank you. And let me tell you, every single 18-year-old in my friend set, when we found out all you had to do was just sign up and they would send you a credit card, you better believe everybody in my friends group had a credit card like 3 days later. And it can have lasting effects, and that's what we want to talk to you guys about, because now that you're an adult, you have different responsibilities, and with responsibilities there are different consequences. Now, we've said it before that making mistakes, I think, from my experience, is how I learned. I feel like I learned the most from the mistakes I made. But as an adult, sometimes those penalties or mistakes are a whole lot more serious than when we were under the age of 18. And so certainly, no one's going to get hurt. No one's going to, if we overdraw our bank account, right? But there's certain things that have lasting bad effects. So we see that a lot, especially when it comes to credit. We see it a lot when it comes to money. Those things can have a long-term effect, so that's where we want to be the most careful. And again, leaning on your circle of support, talking to your circle of support, you know, asking certain experiences. I know that our project team knows this, and it comes up in every presentation that we do. I have one particular vice, one particular really bad addiction. And my addiction is shoes. No, shoes. My addiction is shoes. If you can't tell, I'm a shoe person. I have about 1,000 pairs of shoes. And I'll tell you, my poor husband, he's my circle of support, and partially he gives me my allowance that I'm allowed to spend on shoes. And we're going to talk about budgeting a little bit later. But I found this pair of shoes. It was amazing. They were pink. They were covered in crystals. I know all the guys are like rolling their eyes back in their head and not that. Okay, they were the most fabulous pair of shoes I've ever seen, and I found them on another website that were cheaper, and I really wanted them. And so I talked to one of my friends, and she goes, you can absolutely order from them. I've ordered a couple of things from them, and they came in safely, and they were fine. But I asked, right? So it's, again, leaning on your circle of support and asking experiences, asking for their input. And when in doubt, ask, or choose not to do it then, and do some more research, right? Learn some more about it. Let's talk a little bit about reporting, because we talked about abuse, neglect, and exploitation. If you know anybody who is trying to do this to you, abuse, neglect, or exploit, if you know that someone is trying to do this to somebody else, if someone has told you something, if you've seen it, these are two places that you can go. And you guys all know about 911, right? So if we see somebody getting attacked, we're worried that someone's getting hurt, we know we can call the police, right? There's another place that you can call. It's called the Florida Abuse Hotline, and we give you their information in here because you can report either online, you can call them, and they have investigators to go and check on those things. And when in doubt, we can report. But also, you don't have to give your name. If you find out that, you know, someone you know is in a bad situation and someone might be doing something bad to them, you can call these people and you can report it, and you don't have to give your name. And if you know it's happening to you, you can call the police. I would really encourage you, talk to your teachers, talk to your circle of support, talk to your job coaches, talk to people you trust, because it's really important that we look out for ourselves, and especially look out for our friends. You guys have known each other for a really long time, right? And sometimes people get scared, or they get shy, or they don't want to bring these things up. So sometimes we can help look out for others.